African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Just a grey sky, man. Well, it's an overcast grey day this morning. It seems like there's been lots and lots of activity around the dam cam, and so this is Safari Live. Ready? Standing by.
Five, four, three, two, one. You are live, you are live.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our sunrise safari, a slightly delayed sunrise safari. The gremlins were out in full force, but never fear, Connor has battered them away, and well, we're underway and off to a rather grey start. It seems like the clouds have rolled in. We said that a cold front might be arriving after yesterday's hot weather, and it seems that has been the case. It blew a serious gust last night, and it felt like the roofs of the rooms were going to come off at some stage. Now, my name is Tristan, and on camera today I've got Craig, aka the Batman, and this is a live interactive experience, so please, if you do want to get hold of us, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, and you can let us know of any of the things that you may have seen during the night on the dam cam, or if you'd like to ask any questions as we go through the African bush this morning. It promises to be quite a good morning. We have got tracks for a mail line, so thank you to those that did tag us in the mail line at the dam at around 1 o'clock this morning. He has been mobile east and now turning northwards towards Buffalo's cut line. I don't hold out too much hope. It's not very far from where we are to the cut line, and so I think he might have crossed, but there was also tracks for elephants, so if anyone did see the elephants and knows what time they were around, let us know as well, and we'll try to see if we can find them. Without further ado, Craig, let's see where this mail line goes. His tracks, like I say, are on the road here. I'll try and show you one of his tracks quickly so that you can see them. And I'm wondering if it's maybe not Nena from yesterday, just kind of moving through. We stayed with him a bit last night, myself and Sebastian, and he eventually did roar, probably about 15 to 20 minutes. I think maybe that one there is going to be your best bet, Craig. These are difficult to see. I'll tell you what, Craig, let's try find better ones, because these are not very easy, and in this light it's going to be very difficult to see these. But he did roar about 20 minutes after drive finished, and so we kind of lay down there and then just had a complete sort of fast sleep, and that's when we left him. So I don't know if he maybe decided to rest up most of the evening there and then come through in the early hours of the morning. It is what happens sometimes with these lions. They do this. While I try now find a nice track to show all of you, because, well, it would be nice if I actually found the lion too, but while I do that, let's go across to Miss McCurdy so she can say her hellos this morning from what sounds like quite an active hyena den, judging by all the calls that I've heard this morning.
Well, we've moved away from the hyena den now, as you can see. We're racing towards some hyenas, which I don't know where Aubrey is, but good morning. Anyways, my name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is Sebastian. And hopefully we're going to have a fun-filled day with lots and lots of animals. Remember, this is live and interactive. You can hashtag Safari Live on Twitter if you have any questions. Now I just need to try and figure out where Aubrey is. Orbs, what's your luck? I'm at Yuri's car, I can't see you. Right, so it just seems we won't get to these hyenas straight away. We've just guided in the wrong spot, so we've got to go the scenic way around now. So hopefully we'll get there, and hopefully we will get to see some. They're coming, I think they might be coming back this way. They're going southeast now, so theoretically they should be coming this side. There's plenty of animals on quarantine this morning. There's wildebeest, there's impala, lots of things. They're the hyenas. Now, apparently there's 6 of them here. They're running after a herd of impala. I don't know if they're just running in that direction, whether they're chasing the impala, I'm not sure. Let me carry on. They're quick. Here they go. They're just down here. I just don't want them to go down in the drainage line, so I'm trying to catch up to them. The impala are running for their lives, running as if there were wild dogs chasing after them. But remember, hyenas hunt too. I always tell you about in the south, in the southern sands, the hyenas down there would hunt kudu, adult kudu. They'd take them down. Remember, they do live in groups, they live in clans. They're very sociable and they're very intelligent too. I don't know, hopefully they haven't gone down into the drainage line. That's why I'm racing. Let's just see if we can get a view of them. I really hope we haven't raced all the way over here and then they've gone into the drainage line. That will be very disappointing. I think they've done exactly that. There they go. No hyenas for us. Right, let's just try and have a look and establish what's actually going on over here. They're over there. I can't see them, Seb. We've missed them, unfortunately. They were too quick for us. No, unfortunately, we've missed the adults. I don't know if they necessarily were chasing after those impala. Obviously, just put foot so that we could keep up with the herd in case they did get there. Those impala were running away. They were not standing around just in case something did happen. Sure, they were moving fast. It was probably one of the fastest I've ever seen hyena go. They're not slow animals either, and they can keep up that pace for quite a bit of time. They've got a lot of stamina, but they've crossed now the drainage line. You can hear there's Franklin's alarming, but I don't think we're going to get another view of them, unfortunately. They were just too quick for us this morning, but there were 6 of them, so that's quite nice. I haven't seen 6 hyenas together for quite some time. Now, Lindsay, you're wondering how big can the clans get? They can get quite massive. In the sands, they're not particularly large. I wouldn't say more than about, I would say maybe about 10 adults or so, maybe up to 15 adults. That's particularly large for this area. But when you start going up towards Botswana, even in Zambia, there were some massive clans. There was one clan of spotted hyena up in the Lozambizi National Park. Oh my goodness. I don't actually know how many there were, but there must have been more than 20 with all the cubs. Oh my goodness. There were just hyenas everywhere at this one den site that we had there. We didn't have it for very long. Well, when I arrived there, they'd already had all their cubs and they'd already started moving around, so they weren't relying on den sites as much. I can't actually even think, but they can get quite large. I wasn't able to count them all. Very, very big. But in this area, slightly smaller. They don't seem to get particularly massive. And to see them all together is not always necessarily a common sight, because hyenas will split up and move into smaller groups and go off and hunt or scavenge, that type of thing as well. But yeah, sure. Like I said, seeing hyenas taking down kudu is quite spectacular. I think I've already told the story about the kudu that had the broken leg that lived for quite a long time. We were actually talking about how animals can survive their sort of injuries for a very long time, and eventually the clan of hyenas took it down. That was very impressive. Okay, but unfortunately the adults aren't coming back, which means we can't go back to the den, because we know then they've gone in the complete opposite direction, and I don't want to sit with those youngsters without the adult there. We did sit with them already a little bit as we were starting the pre-show. I was hoping that we were going to get them come back to the den, and I'm sure it would have been an amazing sighting to see how excited those little ones would have been. But they've been very vocal this morning. I think those hyenas are obviously hungry and looking for something. But they're really funny to watch, of course, when you're able to keep up with them and be able to enjoy something like that. That unfortunately was just the luck of the draw. And well, those hyenas are now gone. We won't be able to follow them, like I said, through that drainage line. So we'll just carry on and see what else is out and about this morning. Perhaps we'll go back to the den a little bit later. But for now, we'll just go on a bumble and see if we pick up on any other animal tracks. I wonder what Orbs went back for. Hey Tax, oh it's Texan, oh very nice. Sorry, Texan, I'm just live. Right, I'll have to have a chat with him later unfortunately. Hello Impala, good morning Impala. I think let's go check the southern boundary. Let's go see what's happening down that way and see if we get lucky with anything. But for now, I didn't actually hear leopards, I didn't hear libraries, I didn't hear lions or anything calling. Sorry Alice, I can't hear you today, unfortunately. The comms are not fantastic, so I didn't even hear what you said there. I think Aubrey was hoping to see wild dogs. Something like that. Sorry, there's just a bit of static here. I'll have to fiddle with the volume levels and try and get the right sort of settings going here before I can really hear. Well, I don't know if we'll see wild dogs, unfortunately. We will try our best. Yesterday we had tracks and unfortunately we weren't able to find them either. They were just too quick for us, just as quick as those hyenas were today. But I'm going to send you back across to Tristan and see if he's picked up on any elephants or lions.
In a boxing game. And I don't think McGregor is McGregor known for like his big hitting, or is he more a So sorry about that.
Oh, okay. Apparently we're live again. So unfortunately I'm not going to be able to really answer many of your questions now. I need to, of course, try and sort out volume levels, but I need to do a type of a comms test. But it seems as though Tristan's also not winning with comms today. So we'll just keep bumbling about. I think I'm just going to head to I think I'm going to go straight down Philemon's cut line. Maybe we bump to the hyenas again, I'm not sure. And we'll go and have a look and see what's happened on Gary Main. If any cats have crossed through here. Maybe some leopards have come onto the property. I'm not sure what will be awaiting us down that end, but we'll give it a bash anyway. The hyenas were moving at quite a pace, so perhaps they pop back out onto the road again. I don't know where they're off to. We heard them giggling. You see those interesting laughing noises that hyenas make just before drive started. It sounded like they were at Galago Pan, and then Aubrey managed to pick up on them. Right, let's give it another go. We'll send you back across to Tristan and see if he can hear everybody this time.
I can. We were talking about a big fight that's coming up between Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, and about a video that Craig and I had watched, and the behavior of Conor McGregor and whether or not he's going to set himself up for failure. So that's what we were discussing, so I do apologize about that. And I didn't have my earpiece in because I was trying to track this male lion and I didn't know where he went, so I was off my vehicle for 2 seconds just checking his tracks, and I forgot to plug my earpiece back in. Sorry Alice. Now we are looking for these tracks, and I lost them just ahead here coming northwards towards the boundary, but I still as yet can't find where he actually crosses. So I'm still trying to just work out east more towards Buffalo, or if you can north over the road. It is quite a difficult patch here because it's quite sort of rocky, and so it makes that from the Mara. Sorry. Night stuff, and we'll only probably see them again this afternoon, maybe. Apparently, gremlins.
seems it's going to be one of those days again where the gremlins attack us. Unfortunately, we had a lot of wind last night. It was verging on gale force wind at one point. I thought our entire outside area, the furniture and everything, was going to blow away. It was not particularly wonderful. I did tell Tristan if he would like elephants, seeing as though he's been searching for them. It seems like there's a herd down in the drainage line around Rebecca's, so hopefully by the time if he comes back this way, they would have moved out of the drainage line and out and into the open. We're going to stick with our plan though. We're going to keep going down towards the boundary and hopefully we'll be able to find something there. We'll see. We'll keep seeing if there's interesting birds as well, but it doesn't seem like very many of the birds have woken up just yet, barring the fork-tailed drongos and the turtle doves. Those are the only two species I've seen out and about this morning so far. Let's see what else is around here. All the impala, all the wildebeest are up on quarantine. Idea as to where I'm going to start my drive in the morning. Some buffalo tracks, that's quite nice. I'm going that way, so maybe we can check the Treehouse Dam to have a look and see if we can find buffalo. It was just one buffalo bull track though. Seeing them just yet. We should see them come around to the summer months, so that's the other thing, and we're in winter at the moment, so they won't be here just yet, but they typically will stay on the ground as well. The dusky larks spend quite a bit of time on the ground, whereas I've noticed that the ground scraper thrushes, whenever they fly away, they tend to fly right to the tops of trees, which is quite cool. And the dusky larks are not quite as colourful. Their colours aren't as bright and sort of in your face, where the dusky lark look like. I always describe the European rollers once they've travelled their very long journey all the way to Africa. They look like they've been through the wash a couple of times. So yes, it'll be nice to see the dusky larks again. That's what's so exciting for all the new viewers who haven't, of course, started at Birdless, or if you've only just started and you're struggling to get to 100 or you're struggling to get to 200, don't worry, once summer comes around there'll be a whole bunch of new birds for you to add to your lists. Let's see what let's see what else we've got here. Now the light is really poor this morning. It's making trying to spot tracks virtually impossible, but we'll try our best. Check there's nothing coming that way. So like I said, when you track from a car, it's very difficult, so we've got to make sure we concentrate. Now Alicia, you're wondering, how do you tell how old tracks are? Well, in winter, I suppose you could say it's slightly more difficult because we don't have a lot of insect activity in the cooler months, but in summer it's very easy to age tracks because you'll have things like millipedes and scorpions and all sorts of beetles, two-spot ground beetles that are more active at night. And if you see their tracks going through an animal's track, then you can sort of gauge, you know, okay, they normally come out the crepuscular period, so just as the sun's gone down, okay, so it's probably from the early hours of the evening from the previous night if it's the next morning. Otherwise you can just look at sort of the amount of dust that's in the track. You can do a test, you can put your foot down and walk and compare it to another track You can do all these different types of things, but it does take practice. I can tell you right now, the first time that you ever look at a track and try and gauge it, you'll probably get it wrong. It really does just take a lot of experience and a lot of practice. We all make mistakes all the time, and sometimes these tracks are so sheltered that they could be, 24 hours old, but the position that they're in, they're just off of the road where no cars are driving over it all the time, and they're preserved and they almost look brand new, and that can of course play tricks on your mind and make you doubt yourself. So that definitely happens on a regular basis. We need to just of course concentrate as we go along here, because this is the area where we see the various leopards crossing in on a regular basis. They always cross here between Little Gowrie driveway and then around Baboon Pan. We just need to make sure that we focus. Now, yes, yet you're wondering what my favorite predator is. See how I created a spoonerism there? So great. I'm so good at them. My favorite predator has to be hyenas. So my favorite animal is an elephant. My second favorite is the hyena. I really enjoy spending time with them. I must admit though, I haven't really been able to spend a lot of time with them since being in the sands. Every now and then, but not long sightings. But now hopefully that we've got this hyena den, I can get back into it. I spent quite a bit of time with them in Zambia. It was really nice. They were around. They often used to join us on our sundown stops, and they were in camp almost every single night, as the hyenas are in camp. They didn't come to camp last night though, so perhaps they were out chasing other things, maybe chasing the impala and wildebeest around in quarantine on the open area behind camp. So yeah, I think I like lions. I prefer lions over leopards. I love leopards. I love all the animals. I don't not enjoy a single one except flies and mosquitoes. Don't have time for those two. Insects, especially when a fly that's been sitting on a 4-day-old buffalo carcass decides to land on your lips. It's so unpleasant. And bite, and they're just annoying. So I don't like those two. So I told a bit of a story. There are two animals that I don't particularly enjoy, but I don't hate them. I just dislike them. But I like them all. And then I really enjoy the smaller predators too, like the serval and the caracals. I think that they're just so amazing. African wildcats, all those smaller critters. They're really quite great too. Let's see if we've got tracks here. Adele and Natalie, you're wondering, what animal name do I think sounds the funniest? Sebastian, you've also got to think about this one. I'm trying to think, what animal name sounds the funniest? Connor says southern black tit. Now that's a bird. That's pretty good. I'm trying to think. I don't know. Eastern nicator for a bird. That's quite a weird one. A nicator, which is strange. What do you think, Sebastian? The brew. So it seems as though it's not necessarily choosing birds now. I suppose they've got more extravagant names. What about, I'm just trying to think of a random animal. Okapi, that's another one. The okapi, which is, I think, is a bizarre sounding word. And that is an animal that looks like a giraffe crossed with a zebra. I don't have a picture of an okapi for you. Unfortunately, they don't occur in southern Africa. I think you can find them in the Congo. They have a very, very small occurrence area. So you can have it, if you type that into the interweb, okapi, O-K-A-P-I, and then you can share it with everyone. Laura Moore, you said you think hardy-dar, I suppose, hardy-dar ibis. So that's just onomatopoeia. That's just because of the sound that they make. A lovely bunch of kudu. Ha-dee-da. I suppose if you do it like that. It is quite funny if you say it over and over. But the bird names, yes, definitely take the cake when it comes to strange sounding names for birds. Connor was quite right. The southern black tit is a hilarious one. What else is there? I can't actually think of anything off the top of my head right now. Quite a nice herd of kudu too. I wonder if this is the same. This could be the same herd of kudu. I wonder if that we saw yesterday afternoon at Treehouse Dam, because we're not particularly far away. Crystal, you said you think aardvark is a a strange sounding word. Yes, I suppose that is a bizarre one, isn't it? Especially when you translate it, ant bear. I think one of my favorite Afrikaans words is the word for a hippo, siakwi, which translates to sea cow. I didn't quite like that. That's quite nice. And it sounds strange if you think about it, because you're like, but we never see hippos in the sea. But can you believe it? At one point in their lives, they did occur right on the oceans, and they would play in the mouths of rivers. And that's what the European settlers saw as they came along and entered the coast of South Africa. They were seeing a lot of that, in fact, but it's fairly uncommon to see now. What else are we gonna... I don't know if we're gonna have much luck down here. I haven't even seen the hyena footprints just yet. Alright, so we'll just keep driving, and hopefully we'll pick up on some tracks and we'll be able to find something. But I think all the animals would have sort of run for their lives as that wind picked up last night. I'm sure they would have tried to head away. It would have been good time for the lions and leopards and even hyena and to hunt last night. It would have been really good. That would have definitely muffled their sound. So let's see what tracks I had here. I don't know if they were old lion tracks maybe. They didn't look particularly fresh. No, not even. No, not even. Not even a lion track. Lots of old leopard tracks from around here. Right, let's go across to Tristan now and see what he's been up to.
Well, Taylor, we checked for that male lion. Seems like he went north into Buffelshoek, so that was the end of that. Now we're coming back towards the south to try and see if I can't find these elephants from the tracks that I had around the Gowrie Dam. I think Taxon said to me he had some sort of sign of them near Philemon's cutline side, so I'm just heading that direction now, trying to see if I can't get there and try and see if she's not around, or I'm sorry, the herd is not around. I was just listening to an update about Shongile, which is interesting because we haven't seen her, so I just want to ask Taxon quickly. Tax. Confirm you guys located Shongile. Okay, copy. And just confirm those and Love, they're heading towards Treehouse side. Alright, so we're going to try and see if we can't head towards Treehouse Dam. Apparently Shongile was seen late last night when the game drives were coming home at Treehouse Dam, and so I'm going to try and go and see then. It also sounds like a herd of elephants is there too. So that's where we're heading. We're going to go to Treehouse Dam and try and see if we can't find our elephants and Shongile at the same time. Copy that. Thanks, Tax. I'll head to Treehouse Dam for that herd of elephants. Thank you. Sounds like at least we have an exciting plan ahead, and hopefully there'll be some things going on. It was interesting this morning though, when we got going, the hyenas were going crazy and there was lots of excited chatter, and I thought maybe, just maybe, they had stolen something from somebody and they were feeding, but as far as I can understand from Aubrey's update on the radio, is that they were just greeting one another and sort of talking to one another, so that was kind of what was going on there. But maybe, just maybe, they all came together because they ran southwards and to come and see what's going down. Maybe Shongile to kill somewhere. Who knows? That's a big hypothesis, but we'll throw it out there into the world anyway. Our male line, just because where he was walking, and unfortunately it was so close to where the boundary was, that given this sort of way that male lions walk, and when they do decide to walk, it means that they generally cover ground quite quickly, and that sort of distance that he was going to go from the dam is never that far. As soon as they turn north up Gowrie Cut Line, it's normally a big problem. So Michael, you're wondering how far a male lion can travel in a night. Well, it's very dependent, but in the furthest distance you're probably looking at around 20 kilometers. Here in the Sabi Sands they don't generally walk that far. Most of the time it's probably, I would say, at most 7-8 kilometers a night here, because of the density of them. In areas where you get a little bit less density, I have heard of reports of lions walking over 40 kilometers through a night, but I don't know if that was male or female. But they generally, the males are a little bit more lazy, unless there's other males around, and that can cause them to be quite frantic about the way that they move, and they'll kind of go up and down and try and make sure that they find whatever it is that they are looking for, and to try and chase that intruder out. So then you'll find them doing quite a lot of sort of walking, and it might not just be in one direction, they'll go back and forth, and they can then cover quite a large area. But for the most part here, especially with the Birminghams, is that their general walk, if we take Nena for example, there's an elephant right in front of us. I'm probably going to bypass this young male just because the rest of the herd is at Treehouse Dam, and it will be nice to catch up with the herd. We've had a few males over the last few days, so I'm probably going to try and see if I can't get to the herd rather. There's lots of tracks here. Play fighting and just getting technique and establishing a bit of strength in those necks, and working out how they're going to do it when it gets later in life and they actually are going to have to fight with one another. But here comes the rest of the herd. I can see the rest of them piling through the bush towards us, and I would imagine this is the same herd from Treehouse Dam that is now just arriving on Elephant Carcass. It seems like they've crossed over Weaver's Nest and are coming straight towards us. There's a little baby in tow, so it works out that we stop for our bull elephants. You see, you get rewarded for stopping for your male elephants. Interestingly, it sounds like there's another herd at Treehouse Dam, because I've just heard on the radio the guys calling it in that they're drinking at Treehouse Dam. So it seems like we've got multiple different herds on the property, and it's amazing. From no elephants, now we've got 3 different groupings all seen already this morning. It's pretty incredible. I'm going to go back a bit for us, Craig, so that we can see them coming down towards the road. Let's see if we can't just... Oh, a young male is being chased by the matriarch. Look how he's being chased down. And the little one's in tow as well. Look at this. The female has chased the male far now. He's right in the distance, and then a little baby is just coming behind, keeping up with mom, trying to wonder what is going on here. Now, Eric, you say an elephant fight would be an epic story. Well, yes, elephant fights are quite serious, particularly the proper ones where you get males fighting properly. That's will end up with a situation where you get really very, very, very serious things going, and there's so much power that they can even break tusks, and you'll end up with a situation where there's quite a lot of damage that can be done. Now I'm going to move forward again because it seems like everybody's now settling down and gone back in this direction. Now, Alice, I saw Taylor was just behind me here. Maybe she can go towards Treehouse Dam and go and catch up with that herd, because this is a different grouping altogether, if you want to let her know. So there's our little... So there we go. That's beautiful. We've got the female, little baby, and a sub-adult. See how they're just sniffing us? And they're always very protective of the little ones. Even the siblings, you'll find that the oldest sort of brothers or sisters will often be the ones that actually look after the babies, and they'll make sure that they keep them close by, and mom kind of drifts off, but the siblings tend to stay very close to the little ones, and they kind of look after them. And if there's any sort of sign of danger, you'll find the siblings will rush to their younger brother or sister's defense. So that's very cool. Well, we're going to sit with our Ellies for a while. I think Taylor is probably going to head towards Treehouse Dam at some point as well, but it seems that she might have found those hyenas again.
We found 2 of them. They're probably from the same group that we're running across quarantine. They look like they're on an absolute mission this morning. Now, just from looking at them, I can't tell you who they are, unfortunately. I don't know the hyenas that well. It's even just a challenge trying to tell male from female. But to me, they've got very, very nice coats. They're a lot brighter in color. I wonder if these aren't the boys. We're going to try and follow them and see where they lead us to. They're back on Twin Dams Road now. Hey guys, look at them. They are such scary looking animals. I always imagine that there are going to be some crazy horror movies with hyenas featuring in them. Obviously they just misunderstood. Well, this one on... Just trying to see who's who. Now, Cricket, you're wondering if hyenas are mean. No, not at all. None of the animals out here are mean. Just every now and then a buffalo bull does not approve of you. And then again, so do the... What else is it? But miserable sometimes, the elephant, bull and must. But hyenas, no, don't you hear them? They laugh all the time. And of course that laughing is that sound that they make that isn't describing, of course, that they're happy. Various forms of communication. Is that ribbon? I don't know. I'm not even going to try and guess and tell you who these hyenas are. You can tell me which hyena is which here. Hashtag Safari Live. But they're both beautiful. Let's catch up with them. There's also a Birchel's cuckoo that's calling. Here it's called every now and then. But Cricket will carry on with that conversation. They're lovely animals. They're often misunderstood because of the way that they look. They often get I can't hear. I can just hear that one of these hyenas is apparently Gwen. I don't know what the other one... and then the other one is Tsaka. Okay, Crystal, not Chris. Sorry, Crystal. Okay. Wonderful. That's very nice then. We'll see if we can keep up with them for a little bit. Their coats are looking lovely though. Gwen must be the one with the little bit of a tattered ear, maybe? And honestly, I haven't seen Gwen for such a long time. I've only seen her once, in fact. But they're heading away now. They're heading on Mamba Road. And now they've picked up the pace again. They're smelly too. They don't particularly smell very nice. Not quite like a wild dog. They don't have that sweet aroma. There's definitely a stench about a hyena. But you can imagine when you are feeding on carcasses most of the time, you don't necessarily smell so great. Now what we will do is we're going to have to keep moving, of course, and to just try and keep up with them. So we'll try and keep it as steady as we can, and then Seb will follow them like that, which is pretty cool. Look at them. Now this is of course just a little stroll in the park. It's the equivalent of jogging right now. This is so great. Wonder where the rest of the clan has split up to now, because I'm sure they would have been with the rest of the group that were running about on quarantine. Maybe they're going to take us somewhere else. She looks like, does she have blood on her face? No, this one, I don't know. She got her mouth open. No, they're going to disappear off the road, unfortunately, and we won't be able to follow them, but there they go. But look at that coloration as well. You think leopards and lions blend into the vegetation? Look at the camouflage of a spotted hyena. It works very, very well. They're looking very clean. Normally hyenas are not necessarily as sort of pretty as a leopard or a lion, or have such nice, clean, smooth coats. Normally quite tattered, obviously. They've been looking after themselves, which is quite nice. Right, I'm going to send you across, though, to Tristan, and he is looking at his grey giants.
Time since I've seen a herd of elephants, over a month since I've seen females and babies And it's always very nice to see them here at Djuma. And like I say, it's amazing how all of a sudden we get a whole bunch of them at once, from none to plenty. It went from these sort of dry periods with just males walking around, and now the herds have arrived back, and hopefully this will signal a better sort of grouping of females in this area. Now, our young male is just having a little bit of a breakfast, so you'll find that they start feeding a lot off these bush willows at this time of the year. The bush willows are the ones with the yellow and green and orange leaves, and the reason why they feed off them is not from the leaf point of view, but they're actually breaking the branches and they feed off the cambium on the bush willow. For some reason, the elephants really like the cambium on bush willows in the winter months, same as the knobthorn, and you'll find they'll sit in these bush willow thickets and they'll just eat all day long, and they pick off branches and they basically roll the branch, strip off that cambium, and then drop the branch on the ground again. They're not interested in actually eating the leaves at all. So even though they are breaking branches off the tree, they don't eat leaves. So Mary, you say so cute. They are cute, aren't they? Especially the little ones, and I'm hoping some of them babies do come down towards the road and we'll be able to see them and see how they are and see them playing. So Gobsmack, you say it's amazing how they can eat anything in their path. Well, yes, an elephant is very talented when it comes to feeding off anything and everything that is herbivorous. You'll find they'll eat grass and roots and bark and bulbs and leaves and all kinds of things. So they're able to find food even in the most difficult of environments. And well, you can imagine for these elephants, they are spoilt by choice. There's so many food items here for them, and that's why a lot of the elephants here are quite large. You find that you get quite big bulls, and speaking to the guys in Kenya, they say that our bull elephants here are a little larger than the ones up there, and it's probably due to the fact that they've got such a diverse array of food like the ones here, and so they tend to be a little bit smaller, even though they do have quite a bit of nutrition. So you can see the rest of the herd is just off to our left hand side. They're a bit obscured by the vegetation at the moment, so I'm hoping they are going to continue on their path, because they've been slowly sort of pushing eastwards, and that means that they might head down towards Twin Dams and maybe then to the dam itself. Kapal, an elephant, depends on obviously the size, but generally they eat between 4 and 6% of their body weight. Now in an adult male elephant, 6% of 6 tons is really quite a lot. So they'll generally eat around sort of 250 to 300 kilograms a day, which is 500 to 600 pounds a day. It's quite a large quantity of food. And the reason why they need so much is because they have a poor digestive system. Good morning, Franklin. Hello. That's a Franklin that's busy calling in the background. And the reason why they have to eat is because of this digestive system. They only digest about 40% of what they actually put in. The rest kind of gets excreted the same way that it went in there, pretty much whole. And that means that they've got to feed on a lot more vegetation to be able to sustain such large bodies. This is quite nice now. They are starting to slowly come out towards the road. You can see we've got another young bull that's out and walking away, and he made haste quickly when the female came down. It's the same one that got chased just now by the female. And the reason why the females will chase him is because either it's a young male that's reached sexual maturity within the herd and it's now time for him to start going off on his own, or there's a female that's just come into estrus or is just going out of estrus, and the boys have been bothering them, and she's now trying to assert her dominance over them and push them out. But I think it's more a case of that it's a younger male being pushed away. So Michael, a bull will probably recognize his old herd later in life. Elephants are very intelligent, and I'm sure you've heard the saying, an elephant never forgets, and that's because they do have a rather large brain. They have a brain that is very similar to our size brain. In fact, the dimensions are almost the same. And basically that means that they have the ability to remember things, and you'll find that generally through scent and as well as sound, because they talk to each other all the time in these low frequency sounds, they'll be able to recognize individuals. And so a male would probably recognize a herd, same way as the females would recognize that that's a son of theirs or a grandson or a nephew that they might have had in their herd at one point. Are these two going to start again? Those are the same two we originally saw by the looks of it, that were playing around. I love when elephants walk though. They've got such a swagger about them. They kind of like bounce and as they go. It's very cool. Kristen, you say that it looks like the elephant has a kinked tail, and it's quite common actually to see elephants with tails like that. There's a slight little kink in it. It's not exactly 100% straight. I've seen it quite often. In fact, you can actually see it a lot worse than that. Sometimes their tails are completely sort of broken and have right angles in them, but that's just quite natural. If you look at the female now that's coming to the road, that big female that's there, she has also a sort of wonky tail. It's not exactly 100% straight. It's a very common thing with elephants to see sort of skew tails. But look at the hair on her tail. She's got fantastic long hair on her tail. I'm sure lots of the other ladies are very jealous about her hairy tail, because some of the elephants out here actually don't have much hair on their tails. You can see the one at the back there has got a little spindly tail and not too much hair at all there, given it is a younger elephant. And look, it's trying to find milk. Kopal, you're asking if I've ever touched an elephant and how does it feel. Well, yes, I have touched an elephant a number of times, and the skin it depends on where you're touching, but if you touch on the sort of sides of the body, then the skin there is quite coarse and quite rough. There's lots of mud generally on it, and so it's got a sort of, I don't know if you've ever touched dry mud, it's got that kind of feel to it. So that's sort of how the side of the body feels. But if you feel around the ears, what is very interesting is on the ear, on the outside, so the side that we see mostly, that like that, is quite cool, quite warm to the touch. It's not very sort of cold at all, and it is smooth. But when it flaps it forward, the skin becomes very soft. It almost feels like soft tissue paper, and it is very cold on the back of their ear. And it just shows you that how those veins work and are able to cool the body down and keep their body in good condition in terms of heat wise. And then you'll find if you touch sort of around the lip areas, so near the tusks, that's all quite soft skin. It's actually not very hard at all. The trunk again then goes to that much harder, coarser skin, given that it's used quite a bit, and it almost calluses up, much like your hands. When your hands get used a lot, it's the same thing. So Brandon from Ohio, you're asking in what ways does the wrinkles on an elephant's skin benefit them? Well, it's all to do with creating a bigger surface area when it comes to the skin, and that means that they then can get rid of heat quicker. So that's why they have wrinkled skin. Bigger surface area, it means that more heat is given off and they are able to cool their bodies down a little bit more. It also means that they're able to absorb moisture through their skin and keep themselves hydrated. So they have a bigger sort of skin with all those folds and crevices and creases that you see there. And that's our sort of the biggest male that's within this group. He's still not massive and definitely not an adult bull. He's an adult, but he's not a big male, and he'll be lucky if he gets to mate. It means that some of the older males are just not around at that time. So more likely he's just sort of found this herd, and you can see he's got lots of shaking of the head as he goes down the hill, and he's been cast out by the females. Every time he comes near, the females kind of turn towards him and display and push their ears out and make sure that he goes away. Craig, I don't know if you want to come to the front here. These two little hooligans in front are playing. Yes, lots of pushing each other around. It seems the same too as we originally saw. And this is very typical for young males. And you can see why tusks do get broken when it's a serious fight. You see how they get the tusks on either side of the head, and then they try to leverage each other and push each other, and their force exerted on that tooth, especially if there's been a bit of a crack in it, can then break it and you'll see a tusk go flying. It's quite something watching two big bulls do this in serious nature. They really do hammer each other. And there's the force and the sound when the tusks hit each other. It's like a gunshot going off. It makes this big clang sound. Oh. That can't be the game. Finished. No. It's all relaxing now. Geese, elephants will live, generally it depends on the area. So here in a very wooded savanna where the diet is quite woody, you'll find that their teeth wear down a little bit quicker. And so most of our elephants here in the Kruger Park area, on average, will live to about 55 to 60 years, somewhere there. And there was a female that was autopsied recently, and from her teeth and everything else, it appeared that she was over 64, which is very, very old for a elephant in this region. If you go up into the sort of delta and the swamps there, as well as East Africa, the grasslands, those ellies' teeth tend to last a little bit longer, given that they feed mostly off softer vegetation, and they can go to about 70 years old. And then in zoos, if they're looked after and they fed soft pellets and their teeth are cared for, they can go as much as 90 years old. So it just shows you that they're pretty similar to people in terms of their lifespan, although people actually live much longer than they're supposed to, because we have modern day medicine that allows us to treat for all kinds of different illnesses and ailments that we get as humans. These two are highly entertaining. Careful, there's a tree behind you. So Rochelle, in terms of health risks if their tusks get broken, I'm just going to sneak forward, Rochelle, so that we can keep these two naughty boys in check and see what they get up to. But in terms of health risks when their tusks break, they can get abscesses. So you'll find often an abscess does form in that cavity or in that area where the tusk did break, and it causes a lot of discomfort for the elephant, and sometimes they'll become very grumpy, and that leads to them fighting with other males, or even going towards people and hurting people, and then obviously that gets them into a lot of trouble. But generally, no, they're quite good at looking after themselves, and they have been out here for many years, and their bodies are able to fight off a lot of these natural problems that they get. And you'll find with ellies, when they do break a tusk, particularly if it's broken above that lip line, they'll then pack dust into it and pack dirt into it to seal it up, and to try and make sure that there doesn't get an infection inside there. Now, safari wildlife, you say big boys at play. Indeed, these two are definitely having a fun morning, and it's probably because of the weather conditions. It's nice and cool and overcast, which is perfect weather for elephants to play around. It also is not very hot this morning, and there's no wind, and so when there's no wind, ellies love it. Mary, you say this is so special, you love it. Well, I do too, Mary. Sitting in with elephants is the best thing, and particularly when they're playful like this, it always makes it so entertaining. You two, behave yourselves. Now, there's also a bird that's joined our elephant herd. It's going to be quite difficult to see, and I hope it doesn't fly away. But Craig, do you see in front of us, above that elephant in front, there's a little kingfisher sitting in front of us. So somewhere about there, just above that elephant. There it is. So there's our brown-hooded kingfisher sitting, watching what's going on. And I think this brown-hooded kingfisher is taking the opportunity to use the elephants to find food. You'll find that generally we see drongos and we see starlings, but every now and then when elephants push into these drainage sections where kingfishers like to spend their time, they'll also know that elephants disturb insects, and that particular kingfisher is an insect eater. It's not a fish eater, and so it's using the elephants to find food. Isn't that cool? Hello, little one. Very pretty. They always add a bit of colour into the drab winter when you see the kingfishers and those bright blues that they have all over their body and their wings. Where have our two naughty ellies gone? I just hear branches being cracked and broken, so I think they've gone quite deep in. Oh, sorry, little one, did I give you a fright? I'm sorry. Yep, they're still playing. Hey, you behave yourself. So we have a young ellie behind us that's just showing off and making sure that it tries to act the big deal. Yes, I know. You're a big elephant. It's us in trying to show that it is big and strong. And yes, you are big and strong. Okay, don't fall over the branch now. And you'll find it'll pretend like it's feeding just to be able to watch us. Okay, yes. You see how when we stand our ground, it's not sure what's going on. So it's watched the adults do this and shake its head and go crazy, and generally that intimidates things to move off. But with this youngster, we've just stood our ground, and it's now basically been taught that we are not something to be pushed around, and hopefully the next time a car comes around, its attitude towards life will be a little bit better, because that's naughty behavior from an elephant, and we don't really want to see them shaking their heads at us. And while they're still young like that, it's okay and not a problem, but when they get older and bigger, you've got to be a little bit more concerned when they start doing those kind of things. So at least she's learnt, and you'll see now she'll move off and go back to the herd and be quite fine with everybody and not have to worry too much. Now I'm going to roll forward a little bit. She might have got a bit upset because the bull's on that side, and now we have rolled in between her and maybe her mother, and that's why she just kind of got on a little bit on the grumpy side. But hopefully she'll be fine now. I can see she's feeding already again in front of us, so absolutely 100% that's her there under the tree. And we've got another little one in the road in front of us, and I find that the little ones generally are the ones that are a lot more sort of cocky. They're the ones that like to come out onto the road and display to you, and it's almost because they're not as big as the adults, they've got something to prove, so they try and show just how big and strong they are by flaring their ears and shaking their heads and trying to make themselves look all kinds of big. It sounds like the other two are still pushing each other around. I can just hear branches breaking and trees being pushed over in the background, and see the tops of trees shaking. It's quite far in, and I can't actually see them. All I can see is bushes at this stage moving around. Hopefully they'll come back towards us, because it's quite fun to watch them when they play fight like that. What was interesting also is how this herd was moving very quickly, and then all of a sudden they just came to a stop, and they've now bombshelled and are all feeding and having a very relaxed time. It's normally when you see elephants walking like that, they're trying to get somewhere and they're moving quickly to get into an area, and it was strange that all of a sudden they stopped. It might have been because of the bull. The bull elephant might have caused them to move a bit faster, and once they sorted him out, they then were able to sort of rest in an area. Craig, I'm going to go back just because I can see our two bulls that are fighting behind us here. I don't know if they're going to stay there, Craig, but I don't know. Now it seems like they're moving off again. We were kind of well positioned for them. They were in the gap, but now it seems like back into the thicket they've gone. And this is typical when they play fight like this. They move around so much that you just end up sort of having to find a single spot and hope that they'll come out. But how's the camouflage on that? You wouldn't know there's two big bull elephants. If they sat still and stopped moving all the branches and their ears, you would never know that they're in that area. Right, well, we're going to carry on with our elephant herd and spend some more time with them, because, well, they're being full of beans this morning and having lots of fun. And so while we do that, let's go across to Taylor, who's bumbling around, and maybe, just maybe, hopefully, she might have some luck with Shongile.
We're having luck with hyenas. We just bumped into one of the hyenas that we saw a moment ago, and then she disappeared off into Torchwood. I think it was maybe Gwen that we saw. But now there was another one that was calling around here, so we're just trying to see if we can pick up on the second one. Looks like the two have split. So I don't know what's going on, but they're very, very active this morning, the hyenas. And then we also had some female leopard tracks coming up Leadwood, but we've driven Leadwood, and I don't know where they go. It's a tough one to try and figure out where exactly that cat is missioned to. That area is very, very thick, of course, as well. But we'll just keep searching, we'll just keep driving, and hopefully we bump into something. We'll do one of those mornings. Lots of Franklins making noise. Maybe we'll go back towards the hyena den again at some point. But it's a tough one. I couldn't see where those tracks have gone. Even now in this light, it's still fairly tricky, and the ground is very, very hard on Leadwood Road. So we aren't able to track like what we normally like to do. And also the gremlins have been attacking us the whole morning. It's been wonderful. have them on board with us. I'm sure you're all loving it. Hopefully, it must have been from the wind and all of this cloud cover, and that's what the problem is. So these clouds should burn away by this afternoon, let's hope, and then it will be back to normal. Maybe that hyena is walking through this block, the block that the elephants like to move through, which would mean probably we won't get to see it again. So perhaps we'll start heading back around in the direction of the den and see if the other adults have perhaps returned to their humble abode to feed the two young cubs that are there. Yes, you're wondering if hyenas get any or get less sleep compared to the other animals. They definitely do rest. You normally see hyenas resting up during the middle of the day, just as most of the predators will do. But again, they actually seem to be fairly active creatures. They don't sleep for long periods of time, like for instance like a lion. They don't need to sleep for 18 to 20 hours, and the same thing sort of goes with a wild dog too. You see them napping. They definitely take long naps during the day, during the heat of the day, and then they'll typically try and hunt in the morning, and then in the later afternoon when it's slightly cooler, and then on full moon nights they'll also go out and hunt. So I suppose out of the predators you could maybe say that hyenas don't sleep as long as leopards and lions do. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe there's some sneaky hyenas out there that enjoy having a long nap and will sleep 18 to 20 hours, but they're always very busy. I can't wait for summer. The one thing I do enjoy seeing in summer is, of course, the hyenas sleeping in the water and just relaxing. Now, Capel, you're wondering what is the lifespan of a hyena? I would say about the same as a big dog that you would have at home. So I wouldn't say more than about between 12 and 15 years. But let's just quickly triple check. I just wonder. Oh, actually, that was quite good. Almost got it. I've forgotten how long hyenas. There's odd striped hyenas. We're on the right spot here. There we go. Sorry, I'm going to turn lots of pages. Sorry, Seb. That might be. I just want to quickly check. Where is the lifespan? Now it's always difficult to try and find it in this book because this book goes on and on and on. It's really good. It's not talking about their age. You'd think it would be very easy and obvious. So there's a hyena. I'm going to have to use a different book. I'll have to use this one. Otherwise I'm going to have to sift through lots and lots of information. Just want to triple check. Where's mammals? Mammals? Oh yeah. Oh, listen to the cuckoo calling. It's so beautiful. Let's just stop, but it might start calling again. Hopefully it'll be around here. There it is, calling again. Where is it? It is. Okay. Do you think I can find it in any of my books today? Absolutely not. Nothing seems to be working for me. But Tristan has confirmed. He says it is around about 12 years, like I suspected. It's somewhere around there. Some might live longer, some might live less. Why are my books not giving me the information straight away today? Ridiculous. I'm obviously looking in all the wrong spots. I'm going to go to bed and then get out the other side and see if that helps. But anyways, Tristan is still sitting with elephants. Let's go back across to him. I think I've just picked up on some more tracks.
Well, hopefully you have, Taylor, and also I've just had a report that it sounds like the Nkuhumas are coming towards Djuma, so maybe if Taylor's up that way she can go and have a look and see if they are indeed on our side, or get an update at least from them. Now, our Ellies are still being as playful as ever. The two bulls have disappeared far into the distance. They're busy fighting right up at the top there, and then the young one, look at this little baby, is busy trying to get up to Termite Mountain, and it's trying to use its legs and trying to sort of figure out how life works to be able to climb such a tall mound and join its sibling, who is right on the top at this stage. Mom is not interested in any way whatsoever. Mom's kind of flapping her ears on the other side of the road and not worrying at all. I always love when you get elephants on a termite mound. There's something about having them up on mounds that is just entertaining and interesting. kind of just makes them feel that much bigger. And I always laugh because their legs tend to go much closer together as they kind of balance on top of this mound. You see how the little baby's legs are right up against its front legs as it tries to kind of balance on the slope. Oh, did you just fall? Oh, no, not sure how these legs work when going up mounds. It's still quite a young elephant. I would say it's probably now about 2 years old. So Gillian, you say, oh, it's so cute. They are cute, aren't they? They're some of the cutest baby animals we have, and it's always up to something, a baby elephant, whether it's trying to figure out how to use its trunk or its feet or its ears. They're always kind of doing something. Hello, are you peering at us through the bush with your big ears? Yes. Oh, don't fall. Oh, oh. No, it's not going well this morning. Did you fall down? What are you doing? It's now made friends with the tree. Because when you fall down, you need to then show everybody how strong you are by pushing at a tree. And look at it, how it's trying to use its trunk. It doesn't know yet exactly how to do it, but it's figuring it out. It's watched the adults and see, look, it's not quite as good as the adults. Oh, no, no. Got to wrap it around, not... There we go, come on, let's try again. Almost there. No, not quite. Ah, we're frustrated now, that doesn't work. What are you doing? This is why I love watching baby elephants. David, you say he needs his mound legs. Yes, he needs almost like some traction shoes for mountaineering with little spikes on the front so that he can learn how to get up. Given that it might be a boy, I'm not sure it's actually if it's a boy or a girl. Difficult to see at this stage. But you are entertaining. You're a little entertainer, aren't you? Yes? Now what? Now you're going to come and charge at us and show you just how big I am. Okay. You are full of character. So Nikki, you say it's the tree's fault somehow. Yes, it seems now this tree is also in the wrong. So all trees are bad this morning and they are going to be punished for this little one falling down the termite mound. Oh, can you reach up there? Is that not the sweetest thing, watching this little trunk trying to pull off these branches? Safari Wildman, you're saying, could this be the first elephant to climb a tree? Well, I think in his mind he's wanting to climb the tree, or she wants to climb the tree. He's trying to put the feet up, but just not getting there. Elephants are not meant to climb trees, little one. If you've watched the leopards, you're watching the wrong people, or the wrong animal. Can't learn from them. Where have you gone? You've decided to disappear now behind all the thickets. Let's try just go up a little bit, because this little one is certainly very entertaining. Oh, there you come. Now that I've started, out you come. Yes, you are a big elephant. Look at you. Imposing and very, very, very big and ears out. A little bit shy when we stop, though. Tries to get kind of behind the trees and... So John, normally it's about 2 years they can use their trunks fully. That's why it takes a long time, and why they suckle for so long is because they can't use their trunk for about the first 2 years. It's not that they can't use it, it just takes a while to actually get used to it and get to work out how this long appendage of your face works. And remember that trunk has got more muscles than our entire body, so the fact that it takes 2 years to learn how to use it is actually quite quick if you think about how people battle in terms of the way that they move around, and we battle to walk and feed ourselves and look after ourselves. It takes much longer, and they have to control just as many muscles in the trunk alone, let alone the legs and the ears and all the other things that an elephant has. Now I want to just quickly go forward here and see. It was giving the tree a hard time, because there we go, it wanted to get all the way up there, but it couldn't. It kept sliding down, and that's what happens when your feet are a little bit small. It's a very steep slope, that, and without mom helping to push you up the slope, that's what happens, is you unfortunately come barreling downwards. So of course it's going to be the siblings' fault. They're far more relaxed, the older sibling. They've seen this all before, done this all before, and is in no way going to be intimidated by us being amongst them. Whereas the little one, that's why it kept putting its ears out, as it's trying to see, what is this object that's amongst us? Do I need to try and chase it off to protect mom? And isn't it amazing that even at that age, that they have that instinct to be able to make themselves appear bigger and try and intimidate any perceived threat in amongst the herd. Even though they're the smallest, they're still trying to show that they can defend their herd and defend all of the members of it. It's always is highly intriguing when these young animals are so brave and try and sort of stand up to anything that potentially could be a danger to them. Although it's funny, when lions come around, little baby elephants are gone. They hide behind mom, and it's generally because mom is so much more aggressive in those situations. With us, the adults know what we are. They're not really too concerned by our presence. But with little ones, with lions, they know that lions are a huge threat to their babies, and then they kind of come to the fore, and the little ones then go back. And as soon as those babies see mom doing a certain action, or being aggressive, they know it's time to back down and get behind mom and try and sort of stay hidden and stay away from the perceived threat. And there's our little one again. We've gone back to trying to learn how to use the trunk. We're trying to figure it out on a monkey orange. There we go. Have you got it? I think we've got some leaves there. Well done. It's quite fun to watch them with their trunks. No, not quite. Oh, we got some food into the mouth. I think it was more a product of sort of luck than actual skill that got that food up there. Let's see. Are you rolling your trunk around? Yes, you actually are doing it. The technique is getting there. Not quite right just yet, but getting there, that's for sure. So cool. Geeky Beth, this is an interest. I honestly don't know what the percentage would be of their daily water intake. It would be an interesting one to know. You're asking about water content or water retention from plants and vegetation in terms of an elephant's diet. How much water do they get from the vegetation that they eat? I would imagine in summer a lot, in winter not so much, but it would be interesting to know the sort of percentage of what they're actually taking in, and whether or not that percentage has any sort of effect on their daily intake. Do they still drink a lot more in the winter because they don't get as much moisture out of their vegetation? I'm not 100% sure, Geeky Beth. I really don't know. So we'll have to try and see if I can't find some information on it. But I would imagine that in summer they won't have to take on as much, because of the vegetation that they eat is so full of water that they're able to then be able to drink that basically and utilize that water to sustain themselves. What is also interesting with all of that is that in summer it is also hotter, so I would imagine that their amount of water that they take in is more in summer months anyway. So even though they have a certain amount to sustain their body, it's much like us as people. We have a certain amount, but we do drink more in the hotter conditions than we do in colder conditions. So I would imagine that they drink quite a bit in the winter, and then in summer, even though they are getting moisture from the vegetation, they'll still be drinking at water holes quite a lot. Sounds like our two males might be on their way back. I can hear branches and trees being broken again, so they went far away. I couldn't hear them anymore, but now I can start hearing it again. Hopefully they'll start coming back. Right, now, it sounds like Miss McCurdy has done a Formula 1 effort. She's gotten third or fourth gear out and has made it all the way to the northern part of the reserve, and I think she might have a view of the Nkuhuma Pride.
We do indeed have some lions, but unfortunately we're not going to have lions for very much longer. It seems as though they've been up and down for most of the evening. But it looks like the Nkuhuma pride, and unfortunately they're still looking on the slender side. I wonder if they haven't had a small meal though, because we've seen them looking like this for a couple of days. They actually don't look as thin as the last time that I saw them, so maybe they caught something quite small just to keep them going, a little snack. But there's 3 of the adults, and I think they're desperately looking for something to eat, of course. And then the youngsters are on their way as well. Now the youngsters look like they've got little bellies. See, so I reckon they maybe have had something. Here comes a 4th lioness too. All looking back. I wonder if we're going to have all 5 lionesses back together. Hello, girl. It's the one that's got the scars on her body. Look at that little cub walking right next to her too. Not having any of it. So we've got, how many have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All 6 Nkuhuma cubs too are here and looking good. They're actually looking in better condition than the adults in terms of the size of their bellies. So I think they did get a little snack somewhere along the way. Perhaps maybe not last night, maybe the night before, maybe even last night. But that's good. Now, I just don't know. Tax said there is a male lion here too. So I want to try and find out where exactly the boys are, but off they go. They're disappearing into Simbambili now. And there they go. Oh, here comes the other lioness. Oh, and a male in hot pursuit. She's running away from him. Look at this. Listen. That's Amber Eyes. Here comes the male. I'm going to go forward quickly, Seb, and we just get a last view. She's not happy with him, that's for sure. You can see she's desperately trying to get away from him, and that's so typical of lions to do that. Just watch them disappear down that animal pathway. I didn't really get an opportunity to see which Birmingham boy that was. I was just focusing, but look at all those tails in the air. Look at that, isn't that great? Unfortunately, we aren't going to be able to follow them. But very nice to just hear the sounds that a lion makes, especially when a female's showing, well, to the male that he's not happy with her. She's not happy with him, sorry, at all. That was so crazy. Short and sweet, of course, but at least they're there. Now, Natalie, you said that what an amazing vision of these lions. It was pretty spectacular. We're going to get cars driving right in front of our view, unfortunately. Never mind. Right, we're going to have to go now. They've blocked our view. Oh well. Let's carry on. Let's go see what else we can find. At least we got a quick glimpse of them. But anyways, that was nice. Nice to see that at least the Nkuhumas are awake, moving around. They're still looking for things, of course, to feed upon.
Well, unfortunately, the gremlins have jumped onto Taylor just as the lions are disappearing by the sounds of it. But at least we got there and got to see. And it's interesting to see the Birmingham boys following the Nkuhuma pride. It means one of those females is coming into heat, which hopefully means they'll mate. And maybe in a few months' time, we'll see a new little cub or cubs appearing with the Nkuhuma pride again. But it's very cool that they at least are somewhere close by. Again, the last update we had of them was in Manyeleti. So nice to know that they've come back down this side of the world, and hopefully they'll head back into Djuma shortly. Are you two going to start right next to us again? I don't know what it is with us. They've been absolutely calm until you guys came back, and now it's time to start the games again. They've now kind of pushing at one another, and you see that they'll put their trunks in each other's mouths every now and then, and that's all just to try and sort of secure the bond between them. Oh, it's just been quiet there for a second because I thought I heard a kudu barking, but I might be wrong. We know that Shongile was near Treehouse Dam, and we're actually not that far. But isn't that cool? Look at them, how the trunks are intertwined. And you can see it's still very playful in nature. It's not very aggressive at all. It's quite slow and... Listen to the skin, how rough it is when it goes against each other. Can you hear the ivory knocking against one another? How cool is this? Ash's one, elephants most definitely will fight for real. When males, big males, and we're talking about these are two small guys, these guys are in their teens. We're talking about when big 30, 40-year-old bulls come into blows with one another, then things get serious, and you'll find that they hit each other very hard, and tusks will break, and it becomes quite something to watch. The power displayed when two big adult male elephants fight is very, very special and something that you won't see every day. Are you going to push down this whole tree? Are you trying to show how big you are? Imagine if he pushes it down on the other one's head. That would be quite something. Nope. Decided to rather push one another around again. Oh. So it just goes to show you sometimes size doesn't always matter. The younger one there, or the smaller one, has just pushed that older one back. It's... Oh no, now I'm getting to put my bum in your face for pushing me around. And while this looks as though it's quite rough, for these guys this is not rough at all. This is just playing. William, female elephants won't exhibit this kind of behavior, but you don't often see it. You might see it when they're very young, them play fighting with a young bull elephant that's in the herd, but it's very uncommon to see the females engaging in this. They generally are off doing their own thing. It's more for naughty boys to be able to play and kind of push each other around. And it's much like if you think about even humans, when you get kids, and the boys generally like to kind of wrestle and to play fight and to sort of roughhouse, as teachers often used to say when I was at school, whereas girls, you know, they tend to be doing their own thing. So it's a little bit different. Well, in humans is that you do get some girls that are part of the roughhousing, but here in the elephant world it's really only the boys that do this kind of behavior. Where are you two off to again? Susan, a bull will... well, good luck to him if he does try to push a female out to seize control. Firstly, the rest of the herd won't tolerate it. They'll all come to that female's defense and they'll try and sort of chase that bull away. And secondly, the bull is not interested in taking control of the herd. He doesn't want to have to dictate where the herd goes. He doesn't want to have to keep up with the herd. Remember, as soon as you're a herd, you're utilizing resources much faster. So you're eating a lot more, you're drinking a lot more. Whereas if you're a bull on your own, you can sort of spend time lazily meandering around the bush and not having to actually move too quickly to get to places and to be able to sustain the whole herd. So bulls are not interested in seizing control of a herd. They don't really want to dictate what goes on. They just want to come and mate and sort of make sure that they spread their genes going forward. They're not interested in looking after babies and looking after sub-adults. That is more for the females to be doing. So he won't ever try and wrestle control from a female. He'll try and dominate her, which means that he might be quite aggressive towards her if he's wanting to mate. But other than that, no, he won't push her out to take control and become the sort of head of the herd as they move forward. You can see a number of trees unfortunately died in the process of this little bullfight. They get pushed and broken.